Hello and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Dynasty Warriors 8, a hack-and-slash game developed by Omega Force and published by Koei Entertainment. With me, like usual, are Synyster Dreamer. How are you doing?
Doing well yourself?
I'm doing great. And Impressions. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right.
All right, so let's get into it. So obviously this is the 8th installment of the Dynasty Warriors franchise, at least of
Mhm.
the Dynasty Warriors name. There's, what, 30 billion just Dynasty Warriors S games out there from the
Yeah,
80s?
there's like other dynasty sided games.
Yeah.
The game I played prior to this one was Dynasty Warriors Gundam, which actually was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I like Gundam. I like the Gundam ones. The only Dynasty Warriors other than that I've played is I played the third and fifth one. Are the only other ones I've played. And I like them. They're okay, but I do like the Gundam one the most out of all of them. Since you play any of the previous ones?
I've pretty much played every single one. At least gotten my hands on and played it, because considering they've been pretty much the same. It's like, okay, go in, go hack and slash, and go have fun killing things. The Gundam at least added a little bit of a twist to it.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's every other one. It's been little new thing popped in, and that's about it.
Yep, and this one has that little new thing. But anyway, so we're going to start off with the story of Dynasty Warriors 8. Like usual, it takes place during the time of the Three Kingdoms in China. And you play one of four, technically five. I ignore the fifth one because it's just like the other category, which is just like character one-shots. But it follows the Wei, Wu, Jin, and Shu. Each one has their own story mode that follows their conquest. Each one has kind of multiple paths depending on your actions and what you do in each little skirmish. And overall, the story was okay. It was enjoyable. I did like the multiple pathings. It allowed me to, change up my, how I did a level a couple of times if it did have that, multi-branching. So, it was okay. I didn't get to all of them. I did I did almost all the way in a couple of the Jin missions. I didn't get to Shu or Wu. But, from what I played on them, it was fun. I did enjoy the story a little bit. Synyster?
Yeah, this, story-wise, it was actually kind of interesting how it was going. I played what was it, the Woo, I think. I don't remember. All I know is it chose one of the four. It was like, okay, go in and go see how this game plays. Which honestly, the story-wise, it was actually kind of interesting. That's like, okay, you go in, go do every mission, and you're doing different sub things inside, and it's like, okay, this is interesting. And it's actually slightly different than what the other Dynasty Warrior games were, so it's like, it was a nice change.
Impressions?
I'm just gonna come out and say it, but I never played Dynasty Warriors for the story. I could care less about it. I do always appreciate the historical context, and I know some of these characters are actually rooted in, history. So it's always appreciated, but obviously that's only a very basic, uh, basic, basis for it.
Well, it's historical fiction. A lot of the stuff that happens in this game doesn't really happen.
Obviously, yeah. The family that I focused on were the descendants of Sun Tzu, the writer of the Art of War. I thought that's why I picked him. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't like I wasn't gonna, you know, I not to say that the other characters would have been less engaging had I not had that, but it's just that drew me to them. I might as well play with something historical, but not really that historical after all.
Right. All right,
Yeah.
so let's get into gameplay mechanics. So obviously, like I said, this is a third-person hack and slash. You control a character on a very, very big battlefield, and you pretty much are a one-man army. You do have your own soldiers, but they're pretty much useless, and you just destroy the other army as quickly as possible. So, in terms of, differences from previous Dynasty Warriors, they have added a couple of new things. One is what is called the affinity system. Basically, this is your troops' overall morale and affection towards you, depending on how well you're doing in the battle. It also affects a couple of moves, one of which is called Storm Rush, and the other is Switch Counter. Storm Rush is basically you stand in one spot and AoE frontal cone of death. You just hack them to death. And then Switch Counter is the opposite. If you're doing terrible, you can switch weapons really quickly and push them back. kind of like a nice little getaway, so you can recover a little bit.
Oh, that's the point of that?
Yeah.
I thought it was just stylish. I didn't realize it was intended as a counter.
Well, there's normal like weapon counter switching, and then there's the counter switch.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 2 counters. But anyway, I wanted to just start with those mechanics for the hack and slash. And, you know, I do like the affinity system. I thought it was really nice because it rewarded me for doing good and punished me for just kind of, like, doing bad. And there are plenty of times where I was bad, but more times where I was good. But, you know, I like the hack and slash style. I do like taking out, like, 700 people by the end of a level. It makes me feel like I am that awesome. So, you know, I've always appreciated that aspect of Dynasty Warriors. But, you know, the gameplay mechanics fun. I do enjoy the basics.
Yeah, the whole fact of, okay, you're one person against thousands of men. Always has been kind of that fun little bit of a game where it's like, okay, here you go. Your allies are roaming around the map on the other side of the field, and you're here. Go do objectives that are being placed in front of you and go kill. The game mechanics that they added in, the Infinity system was pretty cool with the fact that, you know, it boosts your troop morale, or, you know, it starts going away and you start getting punished for it. The other 2, I really didn't focus on because I was too busy killing things too fast to really care.
Yeah.
And honestly, it was like the weapon switch system. It was great. Never really used it for the counter system because it was always killing the enemy general or commander or whatever way too quickly to really care. So I was like, okay, oh, you're here.
Right.
Boost. Dead.
Impressions?
Yeah. Now, back to what you both were saying. Yeah, that is the reason that I play Dynasty Warriors. Is you just have those days where you feel like I want to take down an army by myself. So that's what you play for. And like you said, the affinity system, it was a good way to monitor not your progress, but how your performance, like you said. And it gives it a little bit of context it gives it a little more information in the context of the battle. Whereas, oh, somebody's struggling, help them out. Okay, you raise their morale. Or you're doing horribly right now. Your troops are going to think we're going to lose. It makes sense, rather than just. I mean, the game can operate without that mechanic, but it just gives it that little something extra. You know,
Right.
not necessarily necessary, but it supports it.
Right.
As far as the Storm Rush, what's it called?
Yeah, Storm Rush and counter switch.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I actually was never quite certain how I triggered that. Usually, whenever I just hacked enough at somebody, it happened. So I never really could use it strategically. It worked, at convenience for me at least.
Oh no, it was the same with me. It just kind of happened.
Yeah, and as far as the weapon switching, I agree with Synyster. I didn't quite use it as a counter mechanic, but I did switch weapons on occasion just to mix it up. I mean, I never used it for the counter effect, so I don't know. Maybe it wasn't stressed enough in gameplay, but it wasn't necessary. Yeah.
I only pulled it off once. It's really hard to do the actual switch counter.
Well, there you go. I mean, that might be why, because it's not. I mean, they list it off as a primary mechanic, but it's not really that hard. It's not that easy, rather, to pull off. So it usually gets lost. Maybe in chaos mode, it might be more critical.
Probably. Anyway, okay, so let's move on. So, weapons. There's tons and tons of different weapons. Each one has a different kind of play style that it goes with, different move set, and there's a lot. And I just want to focus on this one right now. And I did enjoy using every weapon. They all have their, uses. I prefer the dual hooks, just because that's just how I am. But that was my favorite weapon, and I love them. And also, like I said, it's depending on the character. Each weapon, they have a specific weapon move that they can use as well. That goes with another mechanic, which I should probably bring in now, which is the Muso attacks. You can have, there's 3 of them for each character that you can have on you, and it's based off of that character's main weapon. And it does super damage, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the Muso's pretty cool, and they're just like, okay, I'm surrounded by a bunch of enemies. Oh, I got Musa. Okay, boom. Then like everyone's dead.
Yeah.
My favorite weapon was uh the shield blade.
That was a cool one.
That thing was pretty cool.
Impressions?
Yeah, for me, I mean, the character I appreciated being able to switch out weapons because the character I had a very short ranged, albeit fun weapon. It was the girl Sun Shang. Well, I forget her name. I don't know how to pronounce her name. But she has those dual giant chakram rings,
Oh yeah.
and while you can throw them, you can't throw them at will. It only happens within the context of a combo, or like a very basic AoE attack. So occasionally, it did benefit me to switch out to the backup sword or whatever I wanted to give her. As far as Muso, that's been its purpose for the entire series. Basically, is to clear large crowds. There's been several occasions where I found myself overwhelmed by enemies and did not have Muso, and saw a jar in the middle of it all that would give me Muso. So it became a frantic struggle just to get to it, and then after which point I could defeat the army. It's fun. That's why I like it.
Okay, so
And
next. Oh,
also, just one quick thing. Also, I obviously didn't do it with this game, but Muso also usually has a two. You can combo with the second player, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to do it this time around, but I know that's always been a staple of the Dynasty Warriors series.
All
So,
right,
yeah.
next mechanic I want to go into is Rage. The Rage bar fills as you beat people up, and once it's full, you can activate it, and you pretty much become God mode. And then it allows you to do a Super Muso attack, which deals a lot of damage and hits a lot of people. And I like the Rage bar. I was always trying to wait for that moment to use it, because I tried to wait for like a huge army unit with like a couple of commanders in it, and then activated it.
Or Lubu.
Yeah, or Lubu. I hated that guy. But I always liked activating for those because that was the times that I needed it. And every time I came to one of those moments and it wasn't filled, I actually had a little bit more trouble. So the Rage Bar has a little bit of strategic use to it. It's not just oh, it's full, pop it, boom, and then you lay waste to everything around you.
It's harder to build. Yeah.
Yeah, it does take a lot more time to build up, unlike the Muso attacks. The Rage Bar takes a very long time. But I enjoyed it. I loved it. I thought it was a good mechanic. Impressions.
Wait. I was adding as you talked. Nothing really else to say.
Okay, Synyster.
Rage bar, yeah, that was actually really fun to play with because the fact that you could strategically, like you said, place it where you need it, and if you didn't have it, you're kind of like, crap. I found that the rage bar was really fun especially because like in the tutorial it tells you can either just tap it and use it, or you could press and hold the button to even do more, and it's like, okay, sit there and press and hold and just watch things get obliterated as you just keep moving.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I love the Rage finishers. Alright, so just a quick shout out, or not shout out, but mention. Horses are, still part of the game. You can call a horse in by pushing a button, mount up, and, do some mounted combat. It's horse combat. And you guys have anything to say on horse combat? I don't.
No,
It was just
it's like any of the others. Just jump on, hack and slash as you go until you get knocked off or whatever.
Impressions?
They didn't change it.
Yeah. Impressions?
Yeah, nothing really. You can't do anything cool while you're on the horse.
No.
So unless you want to just ram a bunch of people around, that's the point of it, I believe.
Yeah, and it's also just to get around the map quicker.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. So then let's get into probably the newest feature. In fact, it is the newest feature, and the thing that makes Dynasty Warrior stand out, in my opinion, I think I'm the only one that did this mode because I was the only one who wanted to, which is Ambition mode. Ambition mode is a little different than story mode and like free play. The basic concept is you're trying to get the Emperor of China to come to your place. How do you do that? You build a fort and you make it awesome. You do this by taking part in different kinds of battles, from small skirmishes to large-scale war battles, to get materials, build your rep, and get people to come to your fort. By doing this, the Emperor will eventually come, but you're also going to be attacked, and you have to defend it from enemies from knocking you down. And I actually thoroughly enjoyed this mode. I thought it was a nice little, add-on because instead of, just, story mode, which gives you the, the historical context, or free play where you're just hacking and slashing, I was building something. I felt like my fort was epic. And you guys didn't do it, right?
No, I didn't have time. I sat down and played what I could and sent the game out.
I did free mode instead. It was just more faster paced. Not faster paced, but like it was a single story as opposed to a campaign.
Right. Alrighty then. I think that's it. Anything else that I missed, guys?
Don't think so.
Okay. So with that, we're going to go into our rating. So here at Rule of 3, for those of you who've never listened to one of our reviews, we do not use a number point rating system because I don't think rating games based on numbers is fun. Instead, I use a buy, rent, pass system. Buy means we think it's worth the full price of the game, whatever the developer wants, whether it's 60, 40, 30, 20, 10, whatever they want for it. The game warrants that price because it has, it's that fun, that enjoyable. They put, it came out really well, and it's worth your money. A rent is twofold. It has two meanings, roughly. Is the first main one that I use is, obviously rent it. The game's okay. It's fun. It's enjoyable, but, not quite worth that full price. So, rent it from Gamefly. Or, go to GameStop or buy a copy on eBay used, or, wait for it to go on sale on, Steam if it's on Steam, or, wait for a sale at GameStop once again. But, generally wait for the price to go down because it's not quite at that full price rating. Pass means it needs to be destroyed, have a horse trample on it, throw it into a storm rush or something so it's obliterated. So, let's start with impressions. What do you give Dynasty Warriors?
I give it a rent as far as not the just to wait for it to drop in price. I mean, Dynasty Warriors, as fun as it is, it's always been there's very little that it brings new to the table with each installment. So don't expect too much from it. Like, don't expect it to be like a brand new concept, a brand new mechanic in each one that's going to change the franchise forever. It's just it is what you pay for. And I wouldn't pay $60 for what I already know really hasn't changed that much. So, wait for it to go down, buy it used, and whenever you're in the mood to hack and slash at an army, then get it then.
Synyster.
I also give it a rent. Impression said it pretty much the same game, just little bits of new, and it's not worth the $60, honestly, for a game that it's like, okay, I'll play it and then put it down and not touch it for a while, and then maybe I'll pick it up again.
It's not one that you play and beat right away unless you're like that. If there's several campaigns, you can work at it over time.
They're long campaigns.
Yeah, that's why it's not really a huge rush for me, So yeah.
I also give it a rent. If you're a huge Dynasty Warriors fan, obviously buy it, or if you haven't purchased one in a while, like your last one was like me, like 5, I'd probably actually pick it up. But on the whole, I would still get a rent. As much as I enjoyed, ambition mode and story mode, yeah, just like you guys, just time consuming. It's one of those games that you really just have to kind of be in the mood to play. You can't just sit down and just, go at it. Some people can, I can't, but, it is fun. But yeah, I think maybe wait for it to go a little bit lower, maybe $40, I would say, I would warrant the buy. But, it is enjoyable, but yeah, I don't think it's quite at that level yet to where I would buy it. Especially where it's like Call of Duty and it just comes out like every other year. Or every year there's a new one of some form. So anyway, that's it for this review. Thanks for coming on with this journey on with me, guys. I enjoy your company. Make sure to stay tuned for next week where we'll actually have the Star Trek review up. It got delayed due to some technical issues. Synyster has hopefully worked out those bugs in time to get it posted for next week, hopefully. So keep an eye out for that. This is also the last chance to get some entries into our summer whatever you want giveaway part 2. So make sure to leave a comment below for entries into that. Make sure to subscribe to our channel above if you haven't done that to get all their updates from not only the main reviews, inside reviews, but also for Roy's Retro Reviews, our new show that I do. And make sure to like us on Facebook and Twitter. Check us out on ruleof3.com for the written reviews as well as some other cool stuff, hopefully. I'm hoping to add some more stuff on the site eventually. Just depends on if I ever get some time to do it. And that's it. So thanks for listening, everybody. And always remember to trust in the rule of 3.